Hi, everyone, and welcome to episode 25 of The Essential Zodiac. I'm your host, Cynthia McNulty.
And I'm Audrey Fannin.
I hope everyone out there had lovely holidays and lots of fun and lots of presents. And welcome back, I guess, to reality after all the fun and games, right? We're back at work, back at school. We have a full moon in Cancer to kick off the new year. It sounds funny to say 2023. I have to get used to that.
Doesn't it?
Yeah, it's like I had to write a check the other day, and I'm like, I had to rewrite it. But this full moon is in intuitive Cancer. When a full moon occurs, it's always opposite the sun in location and in sign. So, for example, right now, our sun is in Capricorn, and our full moon will be in Cancer because they're opposite on the wheel. So this lunation, this moon, arrives just in time, lending us all the opportunity to release and let go of anything we wish to leave behind. Now, if you remember from my previous podcast about what was going on this year in 2023, to take advantage of the new energy, we have to release the old. So pertinent to this full moon is learning to strive for greater balance between work and play, between our outer security and our inner security. Our outer parent, Capricorn, needs to step up and take responsibility for our inner child, Cancer. This might look like setting better boundaries when it comes to managing our professional duties and our downtime. This is so, we could be productive and feel nurtured. And I know sometimes, setting boundaries is hard. I know a lot of people say, set boundaries. It's very good advice. It's very true. We need to set healthy boundaries for ourselves. But it's not an easy task, especially if you're not used to setting them. It's like stepping into, a strange new world. But it takes practice. Start with one and you'll get confident and work your way up.
You're talking about having good boundaries. And one of the things that I did when I was working down in Charleston, South Carolina, was sort of a little head game I played with myself, right? So I was living in West Ashley, and our radio station was in Mount Pleasant. So I had to cross the big drawbridge going into the Charleston Peninsula, and then the crazy Cooper River bridges getting over to Mount Pleasant. So if any of you have been to Charleston, you could probably picture them too. But when work got really stressful and I needed to really kind of create boundaries, so I would see as I was crossing, the Cooper River bridges going into Mount Pleasant, that was like a giant capacitor, and all of my home energy stayed on one end and all my work energy stayed on the other. And then I just reverse it as I was going home.
Oh, that's great. Yeah, that is very good. Very good. It's like my husband, when he would have a stressful day, he always said he would leave it outside the front door. He would just mentally leave it in a big pile outside the front door and then walk into the house to create, me and the kids and all that. So, yeah, that's very powerful. People don't think it is, but it is our mind is a very powerful tool. That's great. Thank you for sharing that, Audrey. That's awesome.
Yeah, absolutely. So highly recommended to use your local landmarks if you need that sort of trick.
Right. Very good. What's interesting to see this culminating energy so early in the year, it's that it's important for us to cast our minds back to the new moon in Cancer during June 2022. So upon reflection, we might see clearly what's coming full circle. So think back to June. What was happening there? What were your plans? Look back in your diary or your journal. So in what way did we set out to care for our inner child back then? What boundaries did we try to set back then? What do we need to further let go during this full moon that will assist us in our return to wholeness? So these are a few questions to ponder, and it may help to bounce our thoughts and ideas off someone from our past who we trust, or, a family member, your spouse, your significant other, a friend, or even a therapist if you feel you need more intense therapy. Or sometimes people will do divination, tarot card readings, rune readings. All that is very important for you to make good and healthy decisions. Now, angled to this full moon is a conjunction to Mercury, a wide conjunction to Pluto, and a trine to Neptune. And what all that means is how those planets are aligned with each other. So Mercury brings a message to us from deep within our subconscious, perhaps something we already know and have always known, but now it's really coming forward. Leaning into our intuition can only support us, as well as speaking our truth. Pluto invites us to further purge what we can't take into 2023. As I said before, it's time to put the baggage down. Neptune brings along an array of healing energy, forgiveness, and understanding, as well as transformative empathy, both for ourselves and others. Now, Mars is still retrograde. It's also essential that we take action in a way that's reflective and honors any potential fatigue from the year gone by. We need to move in a way that's flowing and easy on our nervous system, especially right after the holidays. We've always spread ourselves a little thin during the holidays. So now it's time to kind of get ourselves back into a calm and centered place. With La Luna being comfortable in her home sign of Cancer, emotions have the power to flow and heal us when we sit mindfully with what arises. Like I said, still your mind and see what comes forward. But as we move forward, it's important to acknowledge the blessings that we received last year. I've always found it useful to journal what I am grateful for and to give thanks, even though at the time the lesson was difficult. But it helps, to write things down. I know for me, if I speak something or just write it down, it becomes real. Instead of just thinking about it or whatever, whenever I say it out loud or I write it down, it becomes real. So if that would help you, journal. Journal is a great tool. Mm-hmm. So here are a few journal prompts or some prompts to meditate on. What am I ready to let go of? And, think about that. What are you done with? Another one, am I taking time for self-care? What positive habits can I bring in? It doesn't have to be anything elaborate. Even if it's just 10, 15 minutes a day where you could either meditate or just, sit somewhere and be quiet. When I was working a full-time job outside the home and had kids and Jay and house and all that, I used to take advantage of my commute home at the end of the day. And I would, put on a soothing CD or, listen just to something easy listening on the radio. And that would recharge me to deal with like the second half of my responsibilities. So music I find very calming and soothing. So you could try that. And what are you grateful for? And who are you grateful for? We all have, those people in our lives who care about us and who look out for us and are always there for us. So, we want to acknowledge that to them too, but also to ourselves. The people you can always count on. So that ends today's episode. Thank you so much for tuning in. Our next episode is going to be about the new moon in Aquarius, and that will air on January 21st. So I hope you tune in. And remember, with astrology, you can chart your life's course.
Thanks for joining us for this first episode of 2023. It's not too late to order your personalized daily or monthly astrology forecast for this new year. Just visit essentialzodiac.com. The options are right there on the welcome page. While you're there, click on the Become a Patron button to learn how you can help support production of this podcast. We hope this new year brings you new insights, health, wealth, and happiness.